Hey everybody, this is Matthew. Welcome back to Nerd News Today, and we got a wrestling figure review for you. And man, it's been a while since I've done one of these, but yeah, it's long overdue. We're fixing that today. And we're kicking this off here with WWE Elite Series 110 Bruno Sammartino. This is a re-release and update of the Bruno that came out many years ago. And that's been actually a figure I've been seeking out for a long time, and I'm so happy that Mattel redid this as part of Elite Series 110, because they've not only re-released it, but they've also made a few enhancements to it that make it a superior figure in a lot of ways to that initial release. So we're going to get into that in a moment, but first let's talk about this packaging here. This is my first time reviewing the 2024 style boxes here. And, you know, they're okay. What I do like about them is how they kind of go back to a more simple square shape. A lot of times in the past, they have like the unusual cut patterns in them, and I don't mind that, to be honest. But for me, if I keep something mint on package, it's because I want to get it autographed. And that means I have to buy a case to protect it, because I'm one of those people. And anytime it's in a case with a weird cut, well, that means I got to buy a case with a weird cut. In case in point, I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. I'll just slide down Bruno for a second over here. So you can see here, this is Elite Series 81 Nakamura. And yeah, you know, on the top, nothing too different, right? It's basically the same kind of thing, but it's on the bottom here where you see that sort of diagonal cut. You know, that's just kind of a pain in the butt. But I do like it as a design element. And Bruno kind of lacks that flair for the most part, because this box is a little bit more straightforward, but that's not a bad thing. Now, also a big difference between this and other previous WWE Elite figures is a much smaller window space. This is a lot less real estate as far as windows go. You can still more or less see everything that comes in this with, you know, just kind of like moving the box around, but it is noticeably smaller. And if you're someone like me who is an autograph collector, this also leaves a lot less space to put an autograph down. Now there's also this sort of new addition here, which is this sunroof. Again, a lot less window space, but still have something at least. It's not much, but it's something. So yeah, box, not the most interesting side of the packaging, like just like the older releases still have an image of the wrestler on that side there. You can see that. And I believe it's pretty much just the name, yep, just the wrestler's name on the opposite side. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back of the packaging here, and we'll see how this compares. And you know, this is pretty solid. We've got a nice image of Bruno right here on the back with his name. We've got a photo, which in theory is representing the time he wore this particular outfit, and we have a short little bio, which says that the Italian strongman holds the record for the longest WWE Championship reign with 2,803 days, setting the bar for what it means to be a fighting champion. And that's a record we're not going to see beaten any time. That's for damn sure. And not to forget this too, we also have some stats now, which are going across this design element here. So I really do appreciate how they've kind of incorporated these design elements into the information and just the overall look and appearance of this packaging. That's cool. And then on the bottom, we have a look at who else is in Series 110. And that's, again, Bruno, Butch, our first-time figures of Elton Prince and Kit Wilson, pretty deadly, Austin Theory, Roman Reigns, because of course, why not, and Rhea Ripley. We got a version of Mommy, which I believe was her WrestleMania 39 outfit. So good figures overall, pretty, you know, maybe not the strongest line, but I was going to say, you know, pretty good lineup with some interesting faces, and they don't quite fit together, but hey, who cares? So let's go ahead and get this Bruno Sammartino out of the box and into the ring. And here's our legend, Bruno Sammartino, now ready for action. And it makes me even more sad that I missed out on the first release in some ways, but I'm also kind of relieved because there definitely are some notable augmentations to this version of Bruno. So let's dig into things here, because initial impressions are, this is amazing, but I want to start this off by taking a closer look at his head sculpt and asking the question of whether or not this truly does look like Bruno Sammartino. And I gotta say, I think that's a pretty big yes from me. I'm just gonna get that giant hairy arm down for a second here. But this is a very good head sculpt of Bruno Sammartino. Now, the expression on the face you might think is a little silly, but to be fair, this is an expression that you would have definitely seen him have. He kind of had that like very family-friendly face, that kind of soft smile. So I really appreciate that that's a part of this figure as well. I think the eyes are really well done. They got the chin correct. The cheeks are there, the nose, that classic Bruno brow. And I think they also got the hair. You know, now this is assuming that I don't know if we're in the toupee era or not for Bruno Sammartino just yet for this figure, but I still really like what they did with all of it. So for me, it's definitely a great knockout of a head sculpt here. Just look how good that looks. You know, like this is definitely Bruno Sammartino. You can't look at this and not say that it's Bruno Sammartino. Now let's go ahead and just kind of look at the body again a little bit more too, now that we got him closer up here. And the biggest thing to note is, of course, the signature Sammartino fur. Look at all that fuzz. He was a hairy guy, and this was in an era where guys didn't really wax and shave as much, and Bruno was hairy and not afraid to show it. I'm surprised there's no back hair on him, to be completely honest, but the fact that they gave us this much hair in a wrestling figure in 2024 is still pretty cool. And I also appreciate how enormous this body looks. Like, this is some huge man here that we can definitely see. This is Meat Mountain right here, folks. We can get a better look at the legs as well, which I'm pretty sure we might have seen these legs in like some Big E figures. So they don't use them often, I feel like, but they're really thick tree trunks of legs. And then further down, we've got some wrestling boots right on the bottom there. Very simple, very plain. They're just classic wrestling boots. There's no name or no initials or anything like that on them. They're just boots for your feet, that's it. And of course, athletic socks, as was customary at the time. So yeah, looking good overall. One more time, just really excellent. Great choices here. Well, let's go ahead and spend some time now with articulation on this figure. And because his outfit is so simple, which, we really didn't talk much about it because it's just literally this green pair of trunks right here. Because this outfit is so simple, we're going to have a lot of articulation, a lot of great flexibility and mobility. And let's begin with the ball-jointed head, which can move left and right. Solid as always. We've got ourselves ball-jointed shoulders. See that right there. We've got the bicep swivel. We have double-jointed elbows as well, so you can get some good dynamic posing. We have wrists that can bend and flex. We've got this torso here that can also bend and flex. The waist rotates. We're going to have, I assume we're going to have really good flexibility in the waist, and that does not disappoint me. If you ever want to see Bruno Sammartino do a full-on split, there you guys go. We've got ourselves the thigh cut, we have double-jointed elbows, and we have the feet that can also flex and stuff. So yes, it's kind of cool because I'm like posing him. He's basically like shooting for a takedown right now, which is a lot of fun. Look at that. And the fact is you can actually do that, and that's kind of fun. You can get some of these like real wrestling poses with a figure like this. So yeah, no complaints here about articulation. Now where our Bruno might start to fall a little bit short is maybe the accessories, but it depends on your perspective about this. So like all Elite figures, our Bruno comes with an extra set of hands, so we get one pair of closed fists and one pair of open hands. Nothing we haven't seen before, pretty much the same basic kind of stuff we've seen in the past, quite honestly, but that's fine. What he does have that is more unique is we've got a classic Hall of Fame plaque for Bruno. This is his 2013 Hall of Fame. You saw him holding it in the packaging here. I don't know if he can actually hold it just as easily with one hand out of the box. It looks like the answer is going to be no, but let's see if I can just finagle it some more. Not really, so it's going to take him two hands to actually hold that plaque, but I mean, I do appreciate that it's there, and it's upside down, which doesn't help much either, but I do appreciate that it's there, nicely detailed as well. But I think the big accessory here would be this right here, and it's actually pretty cool and very unexpected. I'm going to push this a little bit further back here. So this is a podium for his Hall of Fame speech. And what's cool about this is it's going to basically be usable for just about any other wrestler out there who you ever want to have do any speeches, if you're going to do any figure photography with it. So I think that's actually really cool. And I don't know if they're ever going to do a Bruno in a suit or not, or if they're ever going to do a character in a suit that's big enough to make it look like it's actually Bruno in there. But yeah, this is a really cool accessory here. Very unique, very unexpected, and it came out looking quite nice. So none of it is detachable, of course. Oh, wait, no, shut my mouth. Okay. The mic actually does come out of the stand. Cool. Another unexpected little treat there. So yeah, this is a little bit of a softer, bendy plastic. Otherwise, this is just kind of firm, transparent plastic there. Has a sort of blue tint to it, but very cool. That's a great accessory. I'm actually really excited for that. The figure is great, but having that accessory just kind of adds a lot more value to it, in my opinion. It's really useful for a lot of other things besides Bruno here. And here he is too with that Hall of Fame plaque. I mean, just how cool is this? You get this whole big ensemble here as far as like figures and accessories go. I think that's really pretty sweet looking. Now let's do some size comparisons here as well. I've got a WWE Mattel Elite Bret the Hitman Hart figure here. He's definitely on the smaller side. And on a little bit of the larger side, now let's bring in a Hulk Hogan to go with him. So we got a few different sizes, a few different heights here to take a look at. And I think Bret looks really great next to Bruno. Now you can kind of have this fun dream match of those two guys wrestling each other. And then you got Hogan and Bruno. And again, Hogan is a little bit taller, but it's cool seeing these different types of bodies here as well in the ring right now, because we do have 3 different types of bodies showing off here. And it's exciting to see this, and I think that they do match up quite perfectly because this is Mattel, and they do take notice of these kinds of things. But that's how he looks with fellow Mattel figures. Why don't we try some non-Mattel figures in this lineup? And how about we bring in this Jazzwares MJF figure from their AEW line? And while we're doing weird stuff, how about we bring in this Kerry Von Erich from Powertown? Now, the AEW figures, we know that they size up pretty well with most Mattel figures. You can see that really here. No difference. Fits in quite nicely. Random wrestling match, but hey, why not? And it's the Powertown figures that, once again, are a little too ginormous. I mean, they're enormously buff to start with, but even their size, like, they're definitely on the bigger size compared to other wrestling figures out there. I mean, head to toe, you can kind of see the difference here in height and everything, and just the way the whole anatomy is of these guys. You know, the more I look at these Powertown figures, the more I question how well they actually fit with Elites, and they really kind of don't. They're definitely on the bigger side, so buyer beware if you're getting those, especially if you're trying to mix and match them with your Mattel figures, because they work for some figures, but not for all. And as far as standing up straight, well, clearly we know who's better at doing that between these three lineups. Now, there's one last thing I want to test out before we wrap this video up here, and that goes back to articulation. I want to see if Bruno can actually do his finisher. I want to see if he can do a bear hug. I'm going to try it with a Bret Hart figure, just because I happen to have one here. So let's see if he actually can completely wrap his arms around somebody and also grip it, you know, because it looks like we can get close. Oh, maybe. Because the hands are actually a little bit different than I thought. I'll show you what I mean in a moment here, but ooh, I'm like feeling ever so close to getting this. He's actually doing the bear hug. He is doing the bear hug. And not only that, he's holding his hands together. I hope you guys can see that. He actually has his hands being held together right now. So I'm going to see if I can get him a little bit more of a dynamic pose, maybe, without him falling over. Wow. Just to show you that there's no base on him currently, and I don't believe the Bret is touching anything behind him here. He might be, I'm not sure about that, but check it out. He's doing a legitimate bear hug. Or he's about to throw Bret Hart over with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex, but for real, he's actually holding on to him with his hands clasped. I feel like you don't really usually see that with most figures. That's wild. He can actually really do the bear hug. That's really cool. Okay, enough of the playing with that. Let's go ahead and make this a suplex and call it a day, shall we? So that's our look at our Bruno Sammartino from WWE Elite Series 110. And by the way, I take back what I said about him holding it in his hands. Turns out I was just using the wrong hand. They are actually not the same type of open hands. The one that's on this hand currently is just a wider hand, whereas this one currently holding that plaque is actually a little bit tighter, a little bit shorter, and that's why you can grip things a little bit better with that one. So yes, it turns out he actually can hold his plaque. So overall, I mean, I think this is a really excellent figure. If you missed out on the previous Brunos, you have to get this one. I'm not a fan of the green, to be honest. I'm not a fan of the colored trunks that he has on, but I like the extra articulation. I like the paint job. I like the additional accessories here, because I think this is the third figure he's had, and one of those figures also came with that plaque, I believe, or a similar plaque. But I really like the way this thing looks. I like everything about this. This is kind of perfect for me, and it's also a heck of a lot cheaper than buying those older versions. So, you know, if you missed out on it, yeah, you're missing out on his more well-known, I feel like, blue pants, but still, you can't beat a Bruno Sammartino figure, and this is the one to get. Speaking of, if you want to get this for yourself, go ahead and check out our affiliate links in the description of this video below. If you click on any of those links, they help support this channel at no extra cost to you. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time, and stay slammin'.